The grand diplomatic chamber of the Valoran Empire unfolded before them like a cathedral sculpted from crystal and light. Sarah stood beside Leo, both humans suddenly aware of how small they were among the towering alien delegates. The Valorans stood nearly 8 feet tall, their skin gleaming like polished obsidian, their 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern that felt uncomfortably perceptive, as if they could see straight through a soul. At the far end of the hall, Queen Meridaxis rested upon her throne, draped in robes that shimmered like woven starlight. This was humanity's greatest milestone, first contact with a spacefaring civilization, and an invitation to join the Galactic Council. Sarah's pulse thundered in her ears as she and Leo advanced with Earth's delegation. A feast had been prepared in their honor. Tables sagged beneath dishes from countless worlds, crystalline fruits that chimed softly when touched, meats that shifted color from moment to moment, and liquids that floated freely within their vessels, defying gravity itself. It was meant as a gesture of unity, a celebration of trust. Leo had spent months studying Valoran language and protocol. Every gesture, every word of respect was etched into his memory. He knew how fragile this moment was. One mistake could exile humanity from the stars. The queen rose, her movements smooth and mesmerizing. In her 6-fingered hand she held a delicate pastry, golden, flaky, dusted with something that sparkled like crushed diamonds. It was the traditional opening of a Valoran feast. The host took the first bite to prove the food safe, then offered it to honored guests. Sarah watched as the queen lifted it toward her mouth. Diplomat smiled. Tension eased. Everything was proceeding perfectly. Then Leo saw it. A faint discoloration along the pastry's edge. A pattern burned into his memory from xenobiology training. His blood turned to ice. Don't eat that. Leo's shout tore through the reverent silence like a meteor through glass. Leo surged forward, one arm extended as though he could physically stop the queen from across the hall. The chamber froze. Sarah's eyes widened in horror. Earth's entire delegation stood motionless. Ambassador Chen went pale. Valoran guards shifted, hands hovering near their plasma weapons. Queen Meridaxis halted, the pastry suspended inches from her lips. Her 4 eyes locked onto Leo with an intensity that could have melted steel. Representatives from 47 worlds stared in stunned disbelief. A human, barely a year removed from learning of alien life, had just shouted at the Empress of the Valoran Star Dominion. "Leo, what are you doing?" Sarah hissed, but he was already stepping forward, fear overridden by training. "Your Majesty," he said, forcing his voice steady despite trembling legs. "Please forgive my outburst, but do not eat that food. Look at the edge. Do you see the blue-green crystallization?" The queen's expression remained unreadable. She could order his execution with a gesture. She could declare war on Earth for this insult. The silence stretched painfully long. Slowly, she lowered the pastry and examined it. Her chief advisor, a silver-skinned Valoran named Vexus, leaned closer as well. "Explain yourself, human," the queen said, her voice rolling like distant thunder. Leo swallowed. "That pattern is a contamination marker. On Earth we call it Cherulian blight. It's a fungal spore, harmless to humans and most carbon-based life. But to silicon-enhanced metabolisms like yours," he met her gaze. "It would cause catastrophic organ failure within minutes." Vexus carefully took the pastry and activated a scanning device. Blue light washed over it. His face stiffened. "The human speaks truth," Vexus said. "Terran fungal spores confirmed. Lethal to Valoran physiology." He turned to Leo. "How did you recognize this?" "I'm a xenobiologist," Leo replied. "When we learned we'd be dining with silicon-based life, I studied every known contamination risk. This fungus is common on Earth. It likely transferred during transport from our ship's environmental systems." The queen stood. The entire hall held its breath. Then Queen Meridaxis laughed. The sound rang like crystal bells, beautiful, unexpected. You shouted at me, she said with amusement. A human who has known of our existence for less than a year shouted at the Queen of Valoran in her own hall. Yes, Your Majesty, Leo said quietly. I apologize for the breach of protocol. But, she continued, stepping closer, you saw danger and acted without hesitation. You valued life over ceremony. You risked your world's future to save mine. She descended from her throne and stopped before Leo. Tell me, Leo of Earth, what do you know of the Valoran Code of Honor? Sarah moved forward. Your Majesty, he was only trying. The Queen raised a hand, silencing her. Answer. I know Valorans prize courage, honesty, and the preservation of life above all else, Leo said. Indeed, the Queen replied. And in moments, you demonstrated all three. She placed a massive hand on his shoulder, gentle despite her size. The Galactic Council has debated humanity for months. Some claimed you were too violent. Others, too primitive. I had not decided. Turning to the gathered delegates, she declared, but this human has shown me what I needed to see. Humanity notices what others overlook. You act when others hesitate. You protect life even at great cost. Her eyes swept the hall. These are not the traits of a species to be kept at a distance. These are the traits of worthy allies. She faced Leo once more. You saved my life. In doing so, you may have saved your entire species from a far darker first contact. Realization struck Leo hard. Accusations. Investigations. War. Thank you, the Queen said simply. She turned to Vexus. Rescan all food using Terran contamination protocols. Prepare new quarters for our human guests with proper isolation. As the hall erupted in applause and shocked murmurs, she proclaimed, let it be known, humanity has earned its seat on the council. Not through force, but through wisdom and valor. Sarah whispered, you just changed history by yelling at a queen. Leo sank to the floor. I'm going to need a minute. The Queen smiled. Take all the time you need. The galaxy can wait.